Welcome, Anna, to the Dating Intentionally podcast. How's it going?
It's going great.
I'm so excited to have you here. We have so much to talk about. I was looking through my outlet. I'm like, I wish I could talk to her for 2 hours, not just one. But we're going to get into so much today. The first question I have for you, though, is what are you being intentional about lately, or what do you want to be more intentional about?
Oh, what a great question. I think as we get into summer, as the seasons change, it's such a great question to meditate on. Of like, I was just talking to my friends before we got on the call of like, what are we going to do this? Like, what are we all doing this summer? What's the intention? Like, what's the goal? Not even the goal, but it's more just what do we want to focus on? And honestly, I'm so obsessed with friendship. I just want to talk about friendship all the time.
Yeah,
Like anyone who will listen, I will be on the street corner with a bullhorn and being like, everyone needs to know this information because, our culture is just really moving so fast. And I was thinking about this over the weekend, Talia, actually, about how we kind of live in a world where we could just be living our lives and we watch a movie one weekend and you're like, oh my God, I really care about this movie. I care about this movie about saving the turtles. And then you're like, you know what? I really care about turtles. And then your friend will be like, oh, I actually ate turtle soup. I don't really care about turtles. And you're like, how can I be friends with you? You don't even care about turtles. And like something you didn't even realize was on your radar. Like how these things influence our relationships. We live in a world where you can find a whole new thing to care about deeply. And then it's a metric to be like, well, do my friends care about this too? Like, what does this mean? My friends don't care about turtles. Well, let me find a friend who's really into turtles. But then you find out that your values diverge on other things.
Right.
It's just like the world we live in.
Well, okay. I mean, it's so true. And back to what you first said about how obsessed you are with friendship. It's great that you wrote a book about it. I mean, hello, your obsession led to a book, which is incredible that I finished it. It's called Modern Friendship. For listeners, I'll link it in the show notes. I learned so much reading this. And I think one thing your book taught me a lot of things, but it also taught me there are many books on friendship. Like I appreciated how many books you reference. I'm like, oh, there are so many more books I could read on this topic. But it's still such an ambiguous relationship. Like you talk about how in dating and relationships, we have like all these milestones, like engagement, marriage, these whatever. And friends, we don't have that. Mm-hmm. Relationships, they're more defined. Like we break up with friends, it kind of dissolves weirdly, So I'm glad there are folks like you out there talking about this super important relationship in our lives that we all have, but we don't really know how to navigate.
Yeah, it's sort of this like almost an underground fight club of friendship people of like, we've been thinking about this forever. We talk about it. I'm in WhatsApp groups with other friendship experts. Like we're all supporting each other. It's a small community. And I just love that it's getting that friendship as a topic is getting more scrutiny and people realizing we acclimate to society so fast. We're so used to smartphones. Like, of course we have smartphones. Of course I talk with my friends over text. Of course I leave voice notes. And what I wanted to provide was some context of actually, these are historically new ways to relate to our friends. These are historically new expectations to have for our friends. Yeah. And just like you said, really, the first question was like, what are you being intentional about? And I sort of didn't answer it aside from saying, I'm going to be intentional about figuring out what I'm intentional about. Yeah. But that's what it's like. We acclimate so fast to these changing norms that our ancestors never, ever had to deal with. Your grandma did not have to figure out what it meant to be left out of the group chat. She didn't even have to try that hard for friends.
I have a confession. I'm not in any group chats. I'm just not. I don't do group chats.
I get that.
I'm just not that kind of person. No, I lied. I'm in one, but it's only for planning.
Group chats, I think, can be a burden. I've muted my group chats because I don't want a million notifications. And then it's sort of like homework of, I got to read all these texts. Like, what's everyone saying? Oh, do I have to weigh in? Is anyone noticing that I'm not weighing in? Do I have to add my 2 cents?
Oh my God, that sounds so stressful.
It is stressful. And it's not always like, this is something our grandparents and beyond never had to deal with. Yeah. So we have, it's all about trade-offs, right? Like we have so much flexibility about who we can befriend. We can talk about, and we have so many more interests as a culture than ever before. Like my great grandma and her shtetl in Romania, like what was she into? Like I'm really into what, like milking a cow? I mean, what is there to do? And I was thinking like I could watch a movie, get really activated about it, and then be like, well, do my friends even care about this thing about me? I'm a turtle supporter now. Can we even be friends? Our great grandparents did not,
Yeah.
generally speaking, have to deal with any of those kinds of shifting identity things.
So on that note, one of my favorite insights about your book and your work is that friendship needs an about. And that really like sparked for me. I'm sure it sparked for people who read your book already.
Hmm.
People know this concept. I was like, oh, like your friendship needs to be about something. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
That's a great question. I set out writing this book because I had a lot of questions. And one of the first things I learned about friendships is that they can end at any time for any reason. Friendships are very fragile, or they can be very fragile. And the next thing I learned was that it takes 200 hours to go from stranger to close friend. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to do like time math. Like how many
yes,
weeks is that?
that's
How many like
so
friend
much
dates is that?
time.
Yeah, it's a lot of
You know,
time.
friends take a lot of time to coalesce. Friendships take a lot of time to coalesce. So then my next thought, well, what do I want to, how do friendships get those 200 hours in? And I was reading C.S. Lewis, his book, The Four Loves, and he says every friendship needs an about, and it can be as simple as dominoes or white mice. But you need a topic, you need something that you can discuss with another person that you both are so geeked out about that you will tell your partners or your children, I need to go see this friend because. And so, yes, every friendship needs an about. And the second part is that the about needs to be clear and compelling to both people.
Got it. Okay, so it needs to be mutually interesting and compelling to both
Yeah.
people. And it needs to be just
Yes.
very clear. Like our friendship is about talking about The Bachelor. So
Yes.
okay, so I'll give you an example from my life. Like I have a not weird. I have a unique and very special community in that my core group of friends lives within 5 minutes away from me, and we see each other twice a week, every single week. We have a girls' night every Tuesday, it's all couples, pretty much. Girls' night every Tuesday, and then we have like family dinner every Wednesday, and we rotate houses. This has been going on for
Oh,
years. And this is thanks to my husband. My husband, it's his grad school friends and their partners that have come in. I know, it's so special. But like, that is the about. I don't think I would be friends with, I wouldn't have necessarily chosen them on the street because there was no, like, they're all PhDs. They work in like aerospace. Most of them work at Google, And like, I am an entrepreneur. I like have there's really hardly any common thread there.
yeah.
But hanging out with them every single week for 2 years, we now are all really close. And it's like amazing. And we, have tons of summer plans all together, which is so special. And I feel like does feel very fragile because the second people start having kids, I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, it's all going to go to shit. But yeah, that's like for the girls' night, our about is that we watch The Bachelor. That is the about. And
Well,
that's
it's
great. I love
clear
it.
and
Yeah.
it's compelling. To simplify the desire in friendship has been transformative for me. I used to take things so personally. If I didn't hear from a friend, I would tell myself all sorts of stories about what I was seeing. And, people can say, like, don't take it personally, your friend's busy. But how can you not take it personally? Like, my friend
Yeah.
is clearly hanging out with other people. It's not me. Like, it's really easy to internalize that as rejection. And my hope by illuminating this is how people make decisions about their time. If friendships require a huge investment in time, how do we decide how to spend our time? And that was one of my biggest questions is like, why are friendships suffering? Like, what are friendships a different kind of relationship than others? Like, why is this particular relationship so so challenging to navigate right now? And it really comes down to that about. And the other thing I learned about abouts is that abouts can change, be outdated, or be absent.
Yeah.
And that helped explain why a friendship is active or why it's more of a nostalgic friendship. Why is it something that we aren't, spending a lot of energy maintaining. And it's not because my friends don't love me. It's that our about is outdated. Our about was about, high school and dealing with boyfriends, family. It's like we've outgrown that.
Can the about be just about catching up on each other's lives?
Yes. Well, here's what I found helpful. Also in the book, I talk about a study from 2021 that identified the 5 main reasons people make friends. First is career. Second is mating. You want to meet people to hook up with and date. Not as compelling when you're coupled up, by the way. It's more compelling when you're single. Third is what they call desirable qualities. And that means someone's, hilarious, fun, there's chemistry, and you share hobbies and passions. The fourth is emotional support. And the fifth is sociability, which is like your dinners. It's like we're just out with our friends, like we're just out and about. So those are great abouts of a friendship. So when you think about The Bachelor, well, that's desirable qualities. That's fun. We have the same hobbies and passions. And you have sociability of we're out and about and all just being in the mix. So you can see why you prioritize those friendships more often because they're ticking those boxes for you. Mm-hmm. And if there's also emotional support, well, that just makes the friendship stronger. If you're in the same career, well, that makes it even stronger. So you can deconstruct, like, why do you keep your best friends close? It's usually They tick a lot of those boxes. And it's interesting that I learned is that those are the same reasons that friendships can fade. Is if we're not in the same career. If you are a teacher and I'm, an architect, like I'm more likely to maybe seek out friends that are in my same line of work that can help me. Mating, if you're all married and you're not looking to date and then someone's still single, that can be a challenge of, well, what's our friendship about if we're not meeting people? Hobbies and passions. If you decide you're really into turtles and you're not into Bachelor anymore, it's like, well, what are we going to do together? So just as these are the reasons why we seek one another out, these are the reasons why we might distance ourselves from certain friendships too.
Got it. That makes sense. And it is kind of sad to think about like the absence of an about, or you kind of lose that, or your friend just becomes inactive because things have changed. And it is sad. Mm-hmm. We don't have that clear-cut conversation necessarily. It's like, okay, I guess our friendship has been downgraded. We don't really have much to talk about anymore. And I recently visited friends in New York. And by the way, I just went to New York to visit friends. That was the whole purpose of my trip. And people were like, oh, didn't even occur to them that could be a reason to like, I was like, what? Yeah, like I'm from here. I'm going to see my friends once a year at least. But there were some, I guess, dinners or like hangouts with friends where I'm like, you know what? This isn't as compelling anymore for me. Like there really isn't. We're kind of forcing it right now. I can feel that.
Yeah. And, you have a few choices of, should I renegotiate the friendship? It's like, what have you guys been obsessed with lately? Is there any overlap? Mm-hmm. What have I been obsessed with? I also learned that there's 2 different kinds of friendships. One's called agentic and one's called communal. And agentic is friendships that are more task oriented, like we're working on the same project together. And we tend to drop those agentic friendships when the costs outweigh the benefit. Those are ones we're more likely to drop. So, your friend at work and you get along really great, but then they leave the job and you're like, well, she doesn't help me in her new job. So you drop the friendship. Communal is more about emotional support. Those are the people you hang out with on your free time. Those are the people you're more likely to spend a Friday night with or a Saturday night with, as opposed to your daytime agentic friends. And the way I look at it is, who are you more likely to wear a bra around? Like, I wear a bra with my agentic friends. We are working together. But if you're my communal friend, my emotional support friend, the bra's flying off. We're having a sleepover. Like, those are the kinds of parts of yourself you can share with the different friends. As you think about your friendships, your old friendships, it's like, would I hang out with them with my bra on or my bra off? Like, what would be most comfortable? And then you can kind of discern from there of what's our about. Is it compelling or not? And with that rubric, you can really understand your friendships on an entirely molecular level of like, what is this friendship to me? What do you think of that?
I think that's so helpful. Like, as you're talking, I'm thinking about the friends that I made when I was living in Seattle who I used to boulder with. And so there was one friend in particular who we actually went to high school together, didn't stay in touch at all. We didn't have anything in common in high school, but she got me into bouldering and we would go like once or twice a week together. But then I moved and we fell out of touch because that was the like anchor. That was the agentic thing that was keeping us together.
Yes.
We didn't have an emotional connection really. It was just about like, oh, let's try this route. Let's go to this gym. Let's go like, oh, let's go rock climbing outside. Like it wasn't really about more than that. And that's fine. I don't think that like the value of friendship doesn't need to necessarily be emotional to me, at least. I'm happy to have agentic friends. I love those kinds of friends. But it did make me sad. It's like, oh yeah, like we lost touch. We just didn't have a reason to keep talking.
And my whole thing is giving language to these, helping people understand that there's more nuance to friendships. When you say like, oh, my friends, like you said, it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
And when you start thinking of like, do I hang out my leisure time with this? Is this a Saturday night person or a Tuesday morning person? Like those friendships are different. The reason for the friendship is different. And the reasons that they might fade are different too. So it's really helped me understand that even within active and nostalgic friendships, it's like, well, what do we hang out like during the daytime? Is it leisure time, or is it both, which is the best kind of friend where you can do the daytime stuff, also nighttime stuff. And that's why my best friend is my best friend, is because we can do all of it. We can do both. And that's why she's priceless to me.
That's beautiful. Quick question. Do you think that in dating and relationships, we also need an about? Is that as important?
Well, I mean, certainly romantic relationships are a kind of friendship. There's overlap, but what I go to is that one of the most delicious things about friendships is that it's a relationship of peers, of equals. And it's one of the few adult relationships we have where it's of equals. It's not a boss, it's not an employee, it's not a parent, it's not a child. But with your romantic spouse, it may not always enjoy that equality. You know, there's still power dynamics, like, well, who's the breadwinner? Who's doing which chores? Who's in charge of the children? There's dynamics.
Right. You're building a life together, and you're not necessarily doing that with your friends. There's a little bit more of that separation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And both relationships are voluntary in a way, but when there's there's paperwork involved with the spouse. Right. I'm married. I know it's very different. You know, than a friendship. I know my friend could move away. My friend could, meet someone else and follow their dreams.
Right.
But that's not the contract with my spouse, is we do it together. Unless there's a catastrophe.
That's a good distinction. I appreciate that. Because as I was reading, I'm like, does dating have to have an about? But I agree. I think your relationship kind of becomes your main about, and the life you have together. More than your interests.
Role. It's a different role. It's a role of companion. It's like my spouse is my companion. We almost every dinner together. We plan trips together. We share money. I don't do those things with my best friend. I do not eat every dinner with her.
Or share money.
But it is interesting to think about an about, and as far as like, what do we like doing together? Why does one romantic relationship feel better than another? It's like, well, what do we have in common? And that's going to change. But friendships are much more fragile.
Okay, so one thing that came up that a lot from my audience was the theme of imbalance in friendships. So it's interesting because I have people in my life who have like complained about this, and people in my audience who've kind of brought this up. And it's like, why does it so often feel like one person is giving more in a friendship? Or like initiating more?
I've reported on this, and I've thought about it, and I've asked experts about this very question. And what experts told me, as an expert now, is that it's not always a bad thing if a friendship is lopsided. Sometimes a friend is in a season where they cannot prioritize friendships. Say they have a newborn. So for a season, their friends might be the one reaching out more because they're not in survival mode. They're not the ones that are a new parent. There might be seasons where one friend has health issues and, has other things going on. So it's not always like a bad thing that it's lopsided. It's a bad thing if you feel bad about it. That's what the bad thing is. And that could be because your friendship has changed and you haven't had a conversation about is this friendship like meet? How can this friendship meet your needs better? And I know it's a little wooden to say, but that's the idea of, sometimes you have friends that keep calling you and you're like, honestly, I'd rather get a voice note. But you don't tell your friend. I would prefer to get voice notes. So your friend is like, or is like, hey, let's go out for happy hour. Let's go out for happy hour. And you're trying to take a step back from drinking or something, or you'd rather use that time to work out. But you don't communicate that. So your friend keeps extending invitations that aren't compelling to you.
But if you're the friend who keeps being like, let's hang out, and then the other friend never reciprocates or initiates a plan, do you say something at that point?
I would think my invitations are not compelling. Oh. If I have to keep pinging my friend, do you want to get together? Do you want to get together? That means my invitation is not compelling enough. Maybe it's too vague. Maybe it's, hey, Talia, I'd love to get together for lunch. Are you around? Yeah. And you're like, get together for lunch about why?
I'd
why
be like, no.
What do you want to talk about? I'm busy. But if I said, Talia, I'm thinking about, going on a trip to New York City to visit friends. I want to hear about how your trip went and like what your advice would be. I'm just like spitballing.
Yeah.
But if I gave you more information, you might decide that's more compelling to you. Or Talia, I really want to hear about your podcast. I want to hear about how it's going. How can I help you? Do you want to start an accountability group where we like share potential guests for like whatever? If I have a friend who's not responding to my invitations are not moving the needle. There is something that this person is not connecting with.
Could an approach be like, hey, I feel like I've been asking you to hang out more. Like it's been there's this imbalance. Is there an activity you want to try? Like, is it worth opening the question? Be like, what do you want to do? Like,
yes. Yeah. Any restaurants you want to try? Is there movies you want, like any movies you want to see? I'd love to go to the movies. Like that's how people say yes to things is,
right.
Talia, I really want to see Mission Impossible. Oh, I'll go with you. I want to see it. Oh, really? Well, how's Thursday? Boom. Like it's not a huge back and forth, and people aren't usually given explicit feedback about their invitations. They're usually just blown off or people bail. That's telling you your invitation was not compelling to them. Make it easy for your friends to say yes to you. Say what's important to you this season, this summer. What do you want to be doing more of? How can I help? Do you want to go to more museums? What if we had a little museum club?
But going a little deeper, that's really helpful. Going a little deeper though, it's like I did hear this question of like, I feel resentful that my friend isn't asking me to hang out ever.
Well, I would say to that is how are you helping their life in a way that they would want to bring you close? This is how people work. Right. My friend calls me because I care deeply about what she cares about. She cares about her children and her dog. So, I'm going to go see my daughter's birthday. Oh, I want to come. I want to help you. Or, like your dog has to like I'll go walk your dog with you. Like my friend has a full life, has a lot of different roles that she plays. My job as an adult friend is to support her in those other roles. And I think where people get tripped up is when you're younger, being the friend is the role. It's like, you are my best friend. That is the draw. That's the marquee on the matinee. I'm just throwing a lot of words out. Yeah. Like that's the vibe. But it transitions after 30. The job of a friend transitions from not, I am the main character of your life, to I am here to support you as you go through these other things. And that's called social identity support. I talk about that in the book. And I interviewed Carolyn Weiss, who is a professor who did a study about how to predict who would become best friends in 4 years' time. She had a small group of college students. And she found that students that practice social identity support were much more likely to be friends in 4 years. And the way we do that with our friends is to say, I want to know about you. I want to know about traditions you have. I want to know about the foods you ate as a child. I want to know about your roles as a wife and a daughter and an aunt. I want to support you in those roles. That's very different than I want to go out for drinks. Are you around?
Yeah. No, for sure. I love the specificity of this. And also just, like I said earlier, like I said offline, like making your friend feel really seen in a way. It's like, oh, yeah, like this person really sees what I'm going through. And that's why I can feel safe and close with them because they're there for me. But it's like, do you keep doing that with a friend who does not return that energy?
Well, I would say, like, what is your friendship about? Is it clear and compelling? And start from there of where is desire? Why isn't there a desire on the part of this other friend to
Okay.
bring me close?
Yeah.
And there's clearly an issue with desire. Your friend is not yearning to hang out with you. Doesn't mean anything you're a bad person. Doesn't mean like anything. Your friend could be going through depression,
Right.
and not reaching out to anyone. Your friend could be just lost their job or got a promotion and is miserable. Like, who knows what's going on with our friend? But our job is to figure out, why is the desire not there? Is this something I can help? Or is this something where they're not in a season to invest in friendships right now? I need to
Right.
find people who are available.
I just love the way I never heard anyone talk about this way of just this desire factor. I've never even thought of that, the desire factor in the friendship, giving them a compelling reason to be your friend that's more than just I care about you as a person. Because yeah, we care about our friends as people. I think that's like pretty baseline, but that isn't enough.
I think there's an entitlement to when you are close friends with someone, you expect that closeness to go on indefinitely, like we're in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But that's not how this works. I have no entitlement to another person's time and energy and love. It's more, what can I bring for you? I'm interested in you feeling like I am the best friend to you, not to everyone in the world.
Right.
This is why I'm Talia's best friend, because I care so deeply about you, but I'm helping you with things that you care about. That's why
Right.
you'll keep me around. If I came to you like, well, I'm bored, I'm lonely, I want to drink, I want to have a laugh with you, that's not compelling to you. You're busy. You have all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff going on. Why is it your problem that I want to be entertained?
I mean, what I've done because I just moved to the Bay Area 2 years ago, and like people want to get to know me. Like I'm online, I'm out there. Like people reach out to me all the time from my Instagram. They're like, I'm in the Bay Area too, let's hang out. So there are a few people who like I will definitely take them up on. We do like a video call first. There's usually some other reason to connect, and then they like try to be my friend. And then they do the whole like, let's go out to dinner. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do dinner. I take the charge. I'm like, I don't want to do dinner. Let's go work out. I'm way more interested in having a workout together and like
Yes.
lunch. Like, let's go to yoga class. Let's go to Pilates. Let's go do something active or hike. I don't want to sit and have a dinner with you. Like, I just don't, so.
Talia, what you did was negotiate.
Right.
You are modeling for these other people. This is how we negotiate a friendship. It's not the same as us in our 20s. Like, we're not in our
Right.
20s anymore, where we have all this time. We have so much leisure time. And that's the draw, is like, I got nothing going on. Are you around Friday? Yeah, sure. That's not
That's
the
it.
world we live in.
That's not
It's
now,
like,
no.
I don't want to go out for dinner. There's been a real shift towards friendships being about favors and helping one another, to friendships as entertainment of, let's go out for drinks. Let's go out. Let's go out. And that can feel really hollow of like, well, why am I making time to go to all these dinners? Like,
Yeah.
to talk about what? Like, I don't want to be spending my time like that. So
Yeah.
you did a fantastic job
Thank you.
of negotiating and saying, well, here's what I am looking for.
Well, I think my practice in dating has really translated to friendships. I do the same thing for a date. If a guy suggested a date that I didn't want to do, I'd be like, you know what? Thanks for the invite. Let's do this instead. And that definitely has helped me with friendships. And on that note, I do want to talk about dating because, I mean, the number one question I get, when I never really know how to answer, and I have a take, but I need to hear yours, which is like, can you date your friends? Can you go from friends to more? What is your take on this?
Certainly. Why not?
Yeah. Well, yes, but like, I'm sure there's someone listening right now who has a crush on their friend and is like, but what if I ruin the friendship, Anna? What if I ruin it?
I have become really great friends with ex-boyfriends. Actually, my ex-boyfriend was one of my close friends. We still chat all the time. I am good at being friends with my exes because I have a trust of we'll figure it out. Not for everyone. Not everyone deserves to be friends after, but I think it's totally appropriate to have feelings for your friends. I've gotten shot down from a friend where I was like, I talk about in the book of, I had a crush on one of my best friends. A guy was one of my best friends, and my other best friend swooped in and took him. And that was horrible. I had to explain to my guy best friend why I was so upset. And it's like, well, I have a crush on you and I'm so sorry about that, but I do. And he's like, well, you're like my sister. I'm not going to date you. And I said, okay, let me lick my wounds. Let me like tend to my wounded ego. Hang tight. I'll be back in a little bit. And that's what I did. He's like, take all the time you need to get over it. And then 3 months later, I had a new boyfriend. I'm like, okay, I'm over it. We're good. And we could be friends again.
I love this, what you're saying so much, because this aligns with what I tell people too. It's like, you need to trust that your friendship is strong enough to handle maybe a rejection if someone doesn't have those feelings for you, and that you can come back to it. Otherwise, if it can't handle it, was your friendship ever really that strong? I don't think it's that big of a deal to, yes, you are putting yourself out there. It's vulnerable. It's scary. You're really like, there is definitely more at stake with making a move on one of your friends than like a stranger you met online. But if you already have that foundation of trust, you know you can come back to it after.
It was mortifying in the moment, but I got over it. Like feelings.
Yeah.
And I had to know. I was like, well, I was looking at him as a safe space. I'm like, well, why don't we get together? And he's like, no way. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. I'm like, well, give me a few months. Let me like get my shit together. Let me go like figure out what I need to figure out. And then I'll ping you when I'm ready. And we did. And it was fine. And it's not weird, but that requires so much maturity, like an unreal amount of maturity to be like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. You know, one of my 6 hard truths about friendship is it requires maturity. You need to be mature. And if you're going to try to date your friends, it requires you to be mature. It requires you to be authentic. It requires you to say, actually, my ego's feeling a little wounded. Give me some time to get over it. Like, that's how your friendship stays a friendship, is when you're authentic. So I think you could definitely date a friend.
Yeah, no, it's definitely happened. But it's like I get messages every single day about this, Anna. Like, people are like, oh my God, my friend, like I'm really into him or her, but like, what's a move they can make? How can they start this? Do they just ask them out directly on a date? Do they just like get drunk and kiss them? Like, what's the move?
I think that like when you're together and you're in a good mood, you can be like, would you ever be open to seeing if there was more here?
Yeah.
And just kind of framing it. Like, I'm trying to think how I talk to anyone in my life of like, would you be open? Like, is there anything here? Or tell me to like get lost. I would say take the pressure off as much as you can. Like, don't throw down rose petals. You're like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm totally ambushing you. I've had feelings for you for 3 years, never mentioned it. Like, I think the more pressure you can take off, the better. Of just, is there anything here? Like, yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down. That's what I do with my nieces. Like, you into that? Yes or no? Like, and just try to take the pressure off as much as you can. I think when you've built it up in your mind for so long, for like years or something, that's when the pressure's really high. I mean, you're putting a lot of pressure on this person. So I would try to be as low key as possible and just say, would you ever think there's anything more here? Am I crazy? And they're like, oh my God, you're totally crazy. You're like my sister. I'm like, okay, cool. That was just a vibe check, just making sure. And then see if they come around. Actually, that's how I got my first boyfriend. We were friends, and he asked me out, and I was like, ew, what, are you crazy? Like, oh my God, never. And then I was like, wait, actually, you are kind of cute. Then I was the one who's like, actually, yeah, I do want to date you. So
nice. Yeah,
he kept it cool. He took the rejection on the chin. He's like, all right, that's fine. I still want to be around you. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I do want you. I'm back. I'm back in. People are sort of unpredictable, irrational, but the more chill you are and the less pressure you put on it, you model for them safety. Like if you model emotional safety, if I can handle a rejection, that will make you more attractive as a partner.
So true. And also, we have to also say, what if it works out? What if they're like, yeah, maybe there is. And then you go on a date and you feel it out. And then maybe you decide after your date or two that it's not really a great fit and you can go back to being friends.
Yeah, it's just like no pressure. Just wanted to see if there's anything there.
Yeah.
Back to programming. See you at kickball on Friday.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I think we can set the tone. We have so much power here to model. Like it's gonna be fine. I'm not gonna be weird. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I want to tap that ass. Whatever. I want
Not
to
too
tap a
weird
lot
about
of
that.
ass. I want to tap a lot of ass. Right now I'm looking at yours. You interested or not?
Love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, another question that came up is how do you support your friend when they are like off getting engaged and married and you are single and you're like, how am I still single? Like, what's happening?
Well, I think it's completely normal to feel abandoned. That's
Hmm.
what it's going to feel like. And I've been on that side. I've been on, I suppose, both sides. But usually the single friend feels abandoned and they sense that their friendship is changing and it's really scary. And there's a lot of grief involved. You're grieving the friendship that you had. You're grieving the friend that you had who was, before their identity changed. By marrying, your identity changes a lot. You're not just you add more to the plate. You're a daughter-in-law now. You're an in-law. You're a spouse. You're maybe an auntie when you weren't before. Like there's just all these roles that are changing.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do is to keep calm and reassure your friend, like I'm always here for you. My door is always open for you. Like I know that you're going through different things. This is a huge time for you in your life. And I just want you to know I'm not going anywhere. And that's healing for both the friends to hear and to say, is to say, I know this is like a changing season and I love you. My door is always open for you. And at the same time, start investing in other friendships that might meet you where you're at today, that might have more time to do what you want to do. So you don't feel as abandoned by your one friend who now cannot give you the time and energy that you were used to having from her.
Yeah. Oh man, it is so tough when you are like, you feel like you're the one single friend in your group too. Like that is a lot to carry while you're also trying to be happy for your friends and support them and like realize that everyone's on their own path and it's not going to line up perfectly.
It's really, really hard. I didn't meet my husband till I was 35. Like both of my sisters had weddings before me. I went to all my sisters' weddings alone. Like it was really, really hard. I'd say this with like total empathy of listen, it's going to be hard, but it's not going to feel that way forever. That's something I didn't have the perspective to know. I thought it was like this permanent
Mm,
storm cloud over my life. And it's like, this is just the season where
yeah.
it's inevitable of people are figuring out like what their romantic relationships are. There's a lot of flux, a lot of churn. No one's doing anything wrong. And the best thing you can do is tell your friend that you love them and you'll be there for them. And I'm hoping that will give you peace and take the pressure off you feeling like you have to be at all their things. Like you have to be by their side for all these changes. But
Yeah.
I've had friendships for over, 20, 25 years. They've weathered marriages. They've weathered kids. We're still really close. I just heard from one of my oldest best friends yesterday. We're texting. She got a new cat. It's possible, but you need to have a flexible mindset. And in my book, I spend a lot of time talking about that. Like your friendships in adulthood are not going to be what you thought they were. Doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just means we have to be more flexible. Your friendship is changing. Grieve it. Like take time to grieve it, but it doesn't mean anything's over. It's just changing.
That's amazing advice. And yeah, it's really hard. You're right. There isn't really anything other than just acknowledging it that you can do to soften that and just kind of move through
Yeah.
that the best way you can. There isn't any way to avoid this, you know?
And
Yeah.
also, I will say that it's easy to get into the thinking of, oh, my friend's getting married. It's happily ever after. She doesn't need me anymore. Not the case.
No,
They
not
will
true.
still have problems and obstacles and challenges, and they will still need you. I think that's a lie you tell yourself to be like, well, she doesn't need me anymore. She's married. She's with this whole new family. She doesn't need me. Not true at all.
Yeah.
Let her go spend time with these other people. She will snap back to you and be like, I need to talk to you. This family's crazy. Oh my God, my in-laws are driving me nuts. Like, then she will still need you.
Of
Promise. I
course. Of
promise you.
course.
She will still need you. And if anything, you'll be a relief because you're someone who knew her before these changes. Your friendship's only going to get more valuable. I think people think their friendship's going to get less valuable when your friend goes through these different stages. But no, girl, your friendship's getting more valuable because you knew her from when she was, this different version. And that's going to be, just invaluable to her throughout her life.
Yeah. Amazing advice. And okay, one more question, and then I want to get into a dating dilemma. And that is, what do you do when your friends do not like the person you're dating? Because that one also comes up a lot too. If they're like, and also it's like, should they even have an opinion? Should they even say anything? I mean, this is of course barring like really dangerous situations. It's just more like, oh, I don't like his vibe, or I don't like the way like she dresses, or whatever. I don't like what she's into. Like, not anything really seriously like dangerous, but just the surface level stuff.
It's gonna happen. It's totally going to happen. You may not like your friend's kids. You might be like, your kids suck. Like, listen, it's gonna happen. You're not always gonna like everyone in your friend's life. And my approach has been like, I'm here for my friend no matter what, and really just trying to make the best of it. And listen, it's not easy. It is alienating to see your friend pick a partner that you would be like, really, that guy? I mean, one thing you can do, I try to be gentle and be like, well, what are his good parts? Like, what am I missing? Like, what do you like about him? Really important thing I learned is that, again, saying this, there's no abuse or anything concerning going on, is that I wrote an article for the New York Times about how to give advice people will be delighted to take. And what I learned about advice giving is people tend to take advice in 3 situations. First is if it's expensive to maintain and the problem's complicated, like a lawyer. Like a lawyer said, like, okay, cool, let's do what your lawyer says. Second is if the person is well-trained and has extreme confidence in the advice. Like a doctor. When a doctor says, give up smoking, you're going to listen. The third thing I learned was that people tend to disregard advice when they already know what they're going to do. So my advice, ironically, is that if your friend has already decided to stay with this person, there is not much influence. There isn't as much influence as you might think. If your friend is already determined to stay with this person, like, that's the reality, and it's on us to deal with it as best as we can. We might want to distance ourselves, might want to say, can we just hang out, just us? Like, you have to deal with it. That's the reality. But we cannot influence our friends as much as we think when they already know if they're going to stay.
Wow. That's so true. I love that. Just kind of let go a little bit. We just see other ways I can support them. What if you're the one in the relationship and your friend is kind of giving you shit about who you're dating?
Well,
do you set a boundary there? Or like, can you be like, hey, like, can you not?
Studies show that we tend to let go of friendships that are a threat to our romantic relationships. Those are the ones first to go. Those are the ones on the chopping block. So knowing that, it's very risky to pipe up, because if you're creating problems or think you know better than your friend of what they need, that's the real, I don't want to say sin, but that's what's going to be uncomfy for your friend, is that you're saying you know them better than they do. I know you better than you. This guy's not a good fit for XYZ reasons. You're going to alienate your friend. Another thing is friends don't like to be dominated. So when you start telling your friend, here's what you should do, here's what you need to do, your friend's going to recoil and be like, I don't want this from a friend. Like, you're supposed to just be on my level, not telling me that I'm messing everything up. So it's a very risky situation for your friendship. I mean, it sounds like therapy speak, but maintain your boundaries of like, I don't want to take frantic phone calls about him at 11 at night on a Tuesday. Like, I hear that you're in a distressing situation. I'm free tomorrow at noon to talk. Like, you have to look out for yourself and make sure that you're not overextending yourself or getting involved in drama for something that's not, you don't have much influence over anyway.
Right. It's not really your circus.
It's not your circus. Right. Yeah. So that's where things can get sticky, is when these boundaries start getting blurred, of like, your friend relies on you too much because their partner is a shithead. Sorry for swearing. And that's when you need to be like, what's going on here, dude? Like, I can't keep talking about this endlessly. It's a lot. It is
It's a lot. It's hard. It is really tricky to have this. Again, it comes back to what you were saying earlier about maturity. Like you do have to have the maturity to know that it's not your place to really comment it, like especially maybe if you say your piece once then that's it like, and then from there, or to set a boundary and be like, you know what, this isn't helpful for me, like your comments on my who I'm dating, and I rather we talk about other things. Like then you have to also know not to talk about your relationship as much maybe with that person. It changes, like you're saying, you have to kind of
totally
adapt and
changes,
change.
and it will probably change again. And one thing that's helpful is both things can be true. You can be a devoted friend, but you can also be someone who doesn't enjoy the company of your friend's partner.
So here's a dilemma. It's not a dating dilemma, but it is definitely a relevant one for today's current landscape of the world. So I would love to hear your take on this. What to do about friends who are apathetic and apparently don't care enough about human rights and crimes against humanity, mainstream media, complicity enough to keep themselves informed, take action and speak out, but who are good friends and good people otherwise. Not everyone is an activist at heart. Not everyone has the capacity to digest what is happening and turn that into action. But at the same time, it's exhausting for me to keep having to educate people on international law and human rights. I'm an international lawyer. The importance of small actions like protesting, sharing truthful news from alternative source of media, and boycotting. So any advice for this person?
Yeah. You know, one of the big, and I don't mean to make light of these issues by equating it to a turtle.
We're like, going to reference the turtle thing we talked about earlier. It's not making light of this.
I'm not making light of these. These are like obviously like crucial issues of our time. So I'm not trying to minimize that at all. I know that one of the biggest reasons that friendships buckle is a value mismatch. What this letter writer might be feeling is that my values aren't aligning with my friends. These values are very important to me and I'm not feeling it. So that is a valid reason that friendships fade. I don't think that her friends, I think when she says that she's educating her friends, what that's triggering for me is she trying to dominate her friends by saying, I need to educate you. Like you need to get on my level. You need to care what I care about. And that could be pushing her friends away, which is making, unless they say like, wait, tell me about these issues. Like, wait, I want to know more. What's your take on this? If this letter writer, I almost feel a contempt for her friends of like, I need to educate them. I need to get them up to speed. And that is going to alienate these friends naturally.
Okay. So then is her move to find newer connections or focus on current connections that align with her more and downgrade these friends a bit and kind of stop engaging them with them as much? Like because like I agree, she's not going to turn her friends onto her level of passion for this, which is frustrating, but it's like, what do you do in this scenario?
I think it's important to look at why these friendships exist. What is the about? Are these friends from like when she was younger and she's still reaching out to these people because she's used to she's almost feels entitled to these friendships. Like we've had them for so long. Like, of course I'm going to reach out to these people. She sounds younger. I don't know if like that's her vibe. I think that this isn't working because her values are so integral. The values around these issues are so integral to her identity that she's just feeling the mismatch with these friends. So to answer I sort of didn't even answer your question. To answer the question, yes, she could meet with other people who are just as involved in these issues, but she might find that they differ on other values. Like there's other things they have mismatches on. Then you find out, we actually don't look at this other huge issue the same way. We're actually totally different.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about the flexibility thing that you mentioned earlier. Yeah. It's like, can you have the flexibility of like, okay, I'm going to focus on these other connections where they match my energy around this one thing, but like match my energy less around other things. And like, can you just have that flexibility based on what's important to you at the moment, which is a lot of what your book is about. Is like, can you kind of choose your friends and who's your close friend circle and your outer friend circle based on what is compelling to you right now?
Yeah, I would tell her to read my book so that she would read Modern Friendship, like to understand what is happening. And listen, I have friends for different things. That's more of an achievable, sustainable mindset is I actually have different political viewpoints from some of my closest friends. But listen, how are we going to change our mind? How am I going to influence someone I care about if I don't show her, well, this is actually how I feel about this issue? And oh, I never thought of it that way. Like, this is how a democracy is supposed to work. You're supposed to share ideas. There's been this inversion of democracy of it used to be, this book, Habits of the Heart from 1985, lays out these issues perfectly about individualism. And we used to fight for the right to meet with other types of people. That was the First Amendment. We want to see other people, exchange ideas. Now we want freedom from other people. We don't want to have to listen to whoever we want to listen to. We want to like withdraw when we want to.
That's so interesting.
It's totally inverted. I don't want to talk to all these people. I want to just not be challenged.
Be in my bubble. Yeah.
I want to be in my bubble. Well said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would tell her to like, listen, friends have different strengths. They all play different roles. And to just, be really, I don't know. I think she's just going to have to fuck around and find out of like, listen, when you go really hard like that and like you have to tell your friends you have to meet the standard, I think she's going to have to learn that lesson of, well, why would someone want to stick around for a friend who feels like you're not on my standard? Why would they want to be your friend? Why would they want to continue to invest if you feel like you have to educate them or talk? Even that word is like, might be alienating people when my hope for her is that she'd bring people in. How are people going to care about what you care about if you're saying what you guys like when you're being judgy? That's one of the 7 habits of disconnection that Dr. William Glasser talks about, is being judgy and criticizing. Friends don't want friends like that. So I'm worried that her question is the wrong question of like, how do I get these bitches on my level? No, which is not what she's saying, by the way. I can hear her being like, oh my God, Anna is totally misinterpreting what I'm saying.
No, this person just really cares about this and wants her friends to care too, and is also concerned that her friends don't care, then is questioning everything. I get it.
And that's my fear, is that that's how it's being perceived by her friends, is why can't I get on her? Like, I'm not good enough. Like, I'm not smart enough. I'm not enough.
Yeah.
So one more quick thing about that is people misunderstand about friendship. They think that they would feel happier with more friends, but it's really, the happiness comes from people identifying us as their best friend, of us being chosen. And what I'm hearing from this letter, what's triggering for me is, why should I keep these people around? Instead of like, what can I be doing to help my friends love having me around so that we feel, so I can be a part of their lives. Yeah. I love that. I admire them. Like, I want to be in their life so badly. Like, how can I mend this? It more sounds like, why aren't they, are they even making the cut for me?
Interesting. But it's like, okay.
That could be my own thing. That could be my own baggage too.
I feel like if it's like, if this is where she's coming from, this is her point of view, it's like, maybe she's admiring them less because they don't. Yeah. She's real. They don't feel admired. It's like, oh, they don't actually care about this thing I think is really important, so I admire them less. And maybe it is just like, maybe I do need to downgrade them. Like, it's okay if that is the move.
It's totally okay. And it sounds like she's in a place where she has to have this absolute an absolute threshold. And she might have to explore that and learn the hard way of, listen, this isn't how people work. This isn't how people work.
I really appreciate you answering that with me. That was a tough one, and also just so relevant. Before we wrap up, what's one more belief about friendship you wish people would let go of?
That they think affection is enough to keep a friendship active. It's not enough to keep a friendship active of, I like you, I miss you, I care about you. It needs to be the about. What are we doing together? What are we talking about? How does that help me today? I think that is the number one misconception people have. And also to learn that there's active and nostalgic friendships where be realistic. What is this friendship today? How do I help this other person with their life? Oh, I don't, and I haven't seen them in 8 months and we have no relationship. Well, then let me update my thinking about the friendship of, okay, it's a nostalgic friendship. We don't really have a reason to be in touch. Doesn't mean that we don't care for each other. But you need more than care to keep a friendship active.
Amazing. Great advice. Anna, this has been awesome. Where can we get more of you?
check me out online at Anna Goldfarb on Instagram. I still have fun on Instagram. I love when people DM me, like, I read your book, I loved it. It makes me feel so good. I have a Substack called Friendship Explained, which is annagoldfarb.substack.com. And yeah, check out my book, Modern Friendship. It's really, I have a free book excerpt on my site, annagoldfarb.com too. So if you want to check it out, make sure that it's like up your alley. There's no email sign up required. Like truly just check out a few pages. And if you're into it, like I'd love to have you as a reader. Come check it out.
Thank you so much. I will link all that in the show notes. It's been such a pleasure, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And let's be friends.
Yeah.